Hi. When you pop on, say hello. April, hello, my friend. How are you? Cheryl, hi. It's so good to see you guys. Who else is hanging out here? Okay, friends, so it's time to vote. I know, Cheryl, I'm so happy to be here. Okay, friends, it's time to vote. So today, I feel like everybody wants to do a background. Just what I feel. So, we can do a background for the mermaid. We can do a background for the Cake is Life. Or we can do a background for one of these guys. So, you can vote. Mermaid, Cake is Life, or Weird Zoo. Mermaid, Cake is Life, or Weird Zoo. Cake is Life, Weird Zoo. Anybody else? We need to tag some friends, get some friends on here. All the people. Let me tag a couple people. You just shared? Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right. Well, one of you picked Weird Zoo and one of you picked Cake is Life. So maybe just to be contrary, I'll do Mermaid, and that way I'm not picking favorites. I kind of have an idea for her too. So let's go with Sharks Aren't So Bad. Okay, so for real, you guys, the sentiment on this makes me laugh every time. It says, sharks aren't so bad. If a stranger came into my house wearing a Speedo, I'd probably attack him too. I mean, come on now. That's some seriously funny stuff. At least I think it's funny. So since I colored her on Alive, I think that I'm going to just color her. And I'm going to fussy cut her. Yes, I have the dies for her, but number one, they're not cut apart yet. And number two, I'm a little bit more persnickety about my fussy cutting than even the dies are. So you guys can relax and watch me fussy cut. So, hey. Cheryl, you say, sure. April knows this about me. Oh, you guys both pick this? I'm going to pick the other thing. Huh, April? April was at this sweet retreat for my birthday, so she got to witness that stuff happen firsthand in person. April, you don't live very far from here, right? Like 4 hours-ish? Give or take? Yep, totally expected. I just love you. You're so sweet. So my craft room is still an absolute mess from coming home from the shows. I really want to clean it, but I'm one of those people that like, oh, you're in southern, you're like 9 hours from me. Okay. So are you going to go to the Arizona Stamp and Scrapbook Expo then? The one that's in Mesa? Anyways, I'm one of those people that if I start cleaning, I'm going to clean like everything. And if I start like rearranging, I'm going to rearrange like everything. So I have all these grand plans. My husband's in Arizona right now at a conference. And he's going to be home Friday. So I have these grand plans. Yes, I know today's Thursday. But he's going to be home late Friday. That after I do this live, I'm going to get all of my admin work done for Sweet Sentiment. Holly, howdy, howdy, howdy. And then I'm gonna like overhaul the whole house. Now, mind you, probably none of that will happen. I will probably end up sitting on the couch and watching Disney cartoons and coloring. But I have grand plans in my brain. Does that count? So a lot of people ask if there's any tricks to fussy cutting. There's really not. Some people say only move the paper. Some people say only move the scissors. I move both. And I just say that the most important thing is like when you're coloring, you want to have your wrist in a comfortable neutral position. So other than that, there's no real trick to it. Master Yoda. I also always stay in the center of my scissors, never the end and never this end. I stay in the center. I know, right? Plans are good, but relaxing is also good. So, and since I'm so tired from being at the show, like, I don't know if it's in me. So, I don't know. I want to. The desire is there, but the drive just may not be there at all. Oops. Well, hi, Julie. Are you still on a sugar high from that strawberry shortcake? When we went to Washington, Julie hung out in the booth with us and helped us. And man, she was a great help. And so we got strawberry shortcakes. And oh my God, they were so good. They use like the Washington State Fair famous scones. And their scones are more like biscuits. Unless you're British, whatever. Hi! And they crunch them all up, and then they put like the strawberry sauce on them, and then massive amounts of whipped cream. and it's a diabetic coma waiting to happen. So, of course, we had to have them. None of us could finish them. Like, we could have bought one and all three of us shared it, and that would have probably been a better scenario. But, you know, whatever. Show calories don't count, right? And so we, yeah, we all made a valiant effort to eat ours, and it didn't happen, but man, it was so good. We tried. Okay, so those of you who know me know that I'm not going to let that go, and I'm not going to let that go. So let me find my cutter. And when cutting with an X-Acto knife, it's not about pressure, it's about repetition. Especially with the thick, sweet sentiment paper. The more pressure you try to build on it, the more you're just going to rip the paper. So it's all about repetition. Yeah, that and mimosas. Shh, that's our little secret, Julie. Water bottles full of mimosas. Oh my gosh. You guys, I have the dropsies today. I went to Costco. Basically, okay, here's the story. So my parents' coffee maker broke. And their birthdays are in September, but they never like buy anything for themselves. So I was like, I'll take you to Costco and buy you guys a coffee maker. And I'll just get you that for your birthday because like I have no idea what to get my parents for their birthday. Like they have everything they want. And if they want anything, they just go out and buy it. So it's really hard to shop for them. So, hey, Karen, how are you? So I take them to Costco, and there's 750 gajillion people there. Like, for real. Like, for real, for real. I think my entire town was at Costco just now. And y'all know I'm not a fan of people. So it was a lot. It was a lot for me to take in. It was a lot for me to do. But, I mean, the mission was successful. I did get them a coffee maker. So there's that. And so my dad's really happy. Okay. There we go. A perfectly cut mermaid. So now we're going to work on a background. And I'll zoom in a little bit. I'll move the light so you don't have the reflection. Okay. So, vertical or horizontal? Vertical or horizontal? What would you guys like? So anyways, I got my parents their coffee maker. I got out of there without, you know, having too much anxiety. I bought my week's worth of veggies and fruit and a couple bottles of wine, and I filled my car full of gas. So I'm good to go. Horizontal, vertical. I need a tiebreaker vote. Somebody's got to say it. Horizontal or vertical? Horizontal or vertical? Horizontal, geez. Yeah, horizontal. Vertical. All right. Looks like we're going vertical. April, you're just not getting anything you want today, huh? I'm just cutting out the sentiment. So if you're a crazy person like me, you don't need the dies. But if you're a normal person like everybody else, the dies are awesome because they cut out all of these words. All right. So let's get started with our background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing a horizon line. And I'm going to draw that in something that's a super duper light color. Oh, yay, April! Fussy cutting his life. April, I'm so excited. How is it feeling? April got laser surgery on her eyeballs, so she can see all the things now. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to worry about this being perfectly straight. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up on my mat and use the grid here to kind of eyeball it. And I'm going to use blue, but since this is like ocean, I'm not going to be like super concerned about it being straight. See how it like swoops down? Like I could be really concerned, but I'm not because it's water. Okay, so that's just where we're getting started. Okay, so then what I want to do is I want to make like some mountains, some rocks kind of come up out of the ocean. So I'm not gonna, I don't know, I'm just gonna kind of like scratch them in, okay? Just want it to be like really rough. Fussy cutting is life. You are my girl. And I'm gonna do another one over here. And I'm gonna have this one be like a 2-layer one. So it's gonna come out like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna have, since my mermaid's gonna be sitting here, I'm gonna have her, maybe I'll just have them kind of hanging out like that. Maybe I'm not gonna ground them. We'll see. Okay, so there's that. Then I'm gonna start coloring in all of this. And we're just gonna go for it. The whole thing about backgrounds is people get really concerned about, you know, oh, is this right or is this wrong or whatever. I don't want you to be concerned about that. I want you to just go for it. So with most things, things are darker in front and lighter towards the back. With the ocean, it's a little bit different. April wins anyways. Oh, crap, I did do it horizontal. Oops. April wins anyways. That's funny. I didn't even yeah. Good call, Holly. Good call. Okay, so I'm going to start and I'm just going to do like these wispy brush strokes. And I'm going to go from both directions. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Everybody said vertical, except for April. And April wins. And I'm going to make this a little bit more dense here where the shadows of the mountains are. Because I have grand plans. Okay. I do need more coffee today. I have had 1 cup, a singular uno cuppo of coffee. But you all should say a prayer or send good vibes or whatever, because my son is wanting to do an internship at a local coffee house. they have to do internships for his school for each year, and then hoping to turn it into a summer job. And so, I mean, if my kid works at a coffee shop, Mama gets all kinds of good coffee, right? And it's one of my favorite coffee shops too. If you ever come to Idaho, you have to go to Moxie Java. Okay, so I know, right? A barista kid would be super, super, super great. All about a barista child. So I'm just choosing random colors of blue. I like to always add a little bit of teal to my ocean just to differentiate it from the sky. But this blue isn't super dark. So I just add lots of different colors. The cool thing about backgrounds is it's all about layers. So you can just keep going and adding different colors. I actually think I'm going to go a little bit darker and a little bit more blue. So I'm going to go B24 and add some true blue in here. Kind of funny that I'm differentiating from the sky, but I'm using sky blue in the ocean. Go figure. Now, I know that this looks like super choppy. I get it. I understand. And it looks kind of like a hot mess right now, right? But we're gonna like even that out some. So I'm gonna go back to some of my lighter blues, and I'm gonna grab my BOO, and this is where I'm gonna use the chisel nib. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna kind of oversaturate this. That's not dark enough for me. So I'm gonna use B91. Better. So by oversaturating this, I'm gonna make some of this kind of bleed. And that's how it runs into itself. And I'm not talking like drowning it, oversaturating it. I'm just, you see I'm putting a lot of ink on here because I'm using the chisel nib. And I'm kind of letting those colors marry. I'm letting them bleed together. So I'm not being shy about the amount of ink that I'm putting on there. I'm not drowning the paper and making it like wet tissue paper. Okay. And then I'm gonna go a bit darker around the outsides of it. So I'm gonna go back to that B93. And I'm gonna go a bit darker where those mountains would be. Okay. Then I'm going to go back to that B000 that I started with. And I'm just going to kind of come in here where the light would be touching in between those two mountains. Y'all are being super quiet. Anybody out there still? Okay. So, I mean, there's a lot of ink on there, but it's where I want it to be, so I'm good with that. So now I'm going to color the mountains. So like I said, the closer things get, the darker they get. So this mountain's going to be the closest. It's going to be the darkest. And I like to kind of trade around with my gray colors. So I'm going to start with W10. And anything that's opposite the light. So my light source is going to be right here. So anything that's kind of opposite the light, that's where I'm going to start putting in like these little squiggly lines. Again, we're going to kind of do the same thing as we did with the ocean, and we're going to saturate this in like a different way. So I'm not too concerned about all my squiggly lines and stuff. Just watching. Shh, we're watching magic. There is a guy with a camera outside of my house. And it's not a little camera either. It's like a professional camera on a tripod. Weird. That's what Archie was growling at. Just in case y'all were wondering. Very confusing. Now he's walking the opposite way. Okay, so now that there's weird people outside my house, Archie's growling at him. It's fine. This is W8. And I'm just going, again, opposite of where the light source would be. Yes, Archie is a good boy, and he guards. He's like not taking it, his ears are pinned back. He's not taking his eyes off of them. Now the same guy just drove by in a white truck. I wonder if he's doing like insurance recon for somebody. One of my neighbors. Wonder if somebody's in trouble. Busted. Okay, so I'm going to take this as W4. And this is the only time I really like let my marker just like sit on the paper. Because I want all of that ink to go into the paper and kind of spread out. Okay. So there's that rock. Let's start stacking up the markers over here. Okay. So then this one, so I think this one's going to be medium and this one's going to be light. So I'm going to go light with this one. And since I use the W's here, I'm going to use the C's here. So where I left off with this one is 4, C or W4. So I'm going to start with C4. No, I'm not blowing anything up. Haha, C4. I know, you guys, I'm just that cheesy. Like Holly said, I probably need more coffee. And I might actually do that when I'm done here. Maybe I will take my kiddo to get Moxie Java, and so he can see the place that he's wanting to work. The people are always super fun there. She hires really great people. Okay. So there's C4. And then C3 is quite a jump from C4, so I'm just going to step down and do C3. Again, it's just kind of wiggly lines. Rocks aren't even. They catch the light in different ways. So I'm not overthinking it. I'm just kind of going for it. C2. Notice how far back I'm holding the marker. I'm like way back on the barrel because I don't need a lot of control. I just want this pen to kind of glide across the paper and create movement and striations. My poor bestie, she's not feeling so hot. Okay, then I'm gonna grab C0. And again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna let the marker sit on the paper and let it marry those colors. This is one of the only times I will tell you that it is okay to let your nib just sit on the paper and dispense all of that ink into the paper. I did a background similar to this with my friend Becky Roberts. And she wanted me to teach her how to do a background. And so I was doing this for her. And she didn't even do the background. She just sat there and watched me. And I was like, you're not going to learn if you don't do it. Hi, Natalie. Okay, so now this rock, I want it to be medium. So again, I'm going to switch colors so you can see the difference between the warm and the cool. I'm going to go to the neutral tones. And I want it to be kind of a medium. So I'm going to start with N6. So again, I'm going to kind of come down here along the water line. I was going to say shoreline, but it's not really the shore. Okay. And then opposite the sun on this rock is going to be this way. And again, you'll see how far back I'm holding the pin, because I don't want my brain to come up with specific patterns. I want it to just do its own thing. Okay, so that was N6. We're gonna go to N4. You can watch the replay. Replay is always a thing. I'm gonna try to stay kind of on the underside of these. But again, rocks hit the light in all different ways. So I'm not too worried about it. Now to N3, if I can find it. Oh no, N2. Hi, Miss Krista, what are you doing? And just holding that pen really far back, letting this kind of oversaturate these rocks. Again, see, it looks like a total hot mess. It's completely fine. We're gonna go in and we're gonna refine it. Adding a bunch of ink. And where's my N? So now I'm going to add N-O. This means no. It's just N0. We'll put some finishing touches on these later, but I just like to get them all sketched in so I know what the heck I'm doing. Okay, so there is our mountains that we have going on, or our craggy rocks, or whatever you want to call them. Your puppy. The puppy biting, yeah, is terrible. It seems like everybody here is getting puppies right now. Tana just got a puppy too. It's definitely puppy season in Idaho. For sure. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something a little bit different for you guys. I'm going to make a sunset, but I'm also going to add a stencil. So see how cool this stencil is? I just love it. So we're going to make a sunset, but we're also going to use our stencil on it. So I'm going to start. I want it to be brighter down here and then darker up at the top because my sun is going to be coming from down here. So I'm going to start with a very, very light yellow, which is Y11. And I'm just going to add some brush strokes of yellow. Kind of like how I did the ocean. What do you call a camel on a drought? I don't know. Julie, it's super random. Okay, and then Y13. Oh my God. That's terrible. That's terrible. So when you're doing the brush strokes, you want to just kind of hover above the paper. And now I'm going to start filling in the rest of the background. It is Will Ferrell. I'm also going to add some yellow into the ocean down here so it looks like the reflection. I know the mermaid's going to cover most of this. But I just want to make that reflection look like it's there. Okay, so my yellows are going to slowly start turning into oranges. And I just want to like mix them in. And this is where I was saying like layers are a thing, because layers become, the more layers you put on this, the more you're going to fill it in. So on my first layer, I like to just kind of map out where the colors are going to go. Notice I'm like not super tight with up onto the mountains, like along these lines and stuff. I'm just really loosely figuring out where my colors are going to go and mapping out what colors are going to go where and my progression of colors and all of that stuff. Thanks, Natalie. Okay. Then as I get away from these oranges, I'm going to start going into pinks. So I'm going to start with like a reddish orange, R24. And then that's where the pink will start to come in. Oops. off the screen. And then I'm gonna go into probably like a RV55. We'll see if this is dark enough. No, it's not. So what I meant to say was RV66. And you guys know me, I'm gonna use 7,000 markers on this, so just buckle up and be ready. Okay, and then to complete my vignette, I like to use my BV29. So this is where I'm gonna start coming in and making these brush strokes a little bit thicker. And really filling in the paper. And then I'm gonna work backwards. So back to that RV66. I'm gonna come in tighter around those mountains. I'm still using that same brushstroke technique. I'm just using kind of the side of the marker as opposed to the very tip of the paintbrush. And since you've added all those colors from before, you're kind of underpainting when you lay down that first set of colors. And then I'm gonna need Sandy to come and refill all my markers. Okay, right? In 30 years, I will do the middle of you are doing. I don't know about all that. And you'll start to see as this goes further and further down, you'll start to see it really come to life. But you just have to be patient, because I mean, right now, that looks pretty much like a hot mess for sure. But you just have to be patient. You have to work in layers. You got to think of the outcome and not just where you're at right this second. And y'all know patience is not my game. So if I tell you to be patient, it's for real. Oh, thanks, Michelle. That's so sweet. I just try to color. So I'm only coloring in one direction. I'm going from the mountains towards the center. I definitely think this marker needs ink. And at the edges, I'm leaving all of this super raw. Because because it's easier to blend out when you don't have perfect ends. So can you hear the marker on the paper? See how it kind of whistles? That's how you know it's dry. So this one definitely needs some ink in it. That's my YR15. Okay. Now, as I come further down, you'll notice some of the places where I've like run into the mountains and stuff. We're gonna fix that. Again, we have to work in layers, and so I'm okay with where that's at right now. I'm used to having the peanut gallery. Where's the peanut gallery? Julie's here. She's the founding member of the peanut gallery for sure. Several tries till I get it on my 4th underwater one. Yes. I've done several iterations of this style of background, so it's definitely a method and not just a, you know, this is the first time I'm doing this. But it's the exact same motion I'm doing is what I used to color the ocean. It's what I used to color, you know, skies. It's, you know, I definitely use this same type of technique a considerable amount. Thanks, Cheryl. Okay, so now as I'm looking at this, the only thing that I'm not liking is that you can see the striations, at least in person you can. So it looks like a rainbow, and that's not exactly the look I'm going for. So again, I'm gonna come in here with another layer and try to blur that out just a little bit. And the way I'm gonna blur that out is with texture. No, not a landscape near my home at Well. I live in Idaho, and we are landlocked. There is no ocean near me for hundreds of miles in any direction. So I'm just going back through my colors and adding texture in here to blur the lines where it looks kind of rainbowy. Plus, I really like texture. I don't like everything to be like smooth. I mean, there's certain things I like to be super smooth gradients, but I like to add texture to this. I just think it's beautiful. This is where I do have a tendency to like overwork things though. And I'll just keep going with this texture until it does end up being a gradient. which is exactly what I didn't want. So don't be like me, friends. There we go. Isn't that so pretty? I just love it. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my stencil. And this is just, yes, right? Do as I say, not as I do. So this is just something fun that you can do. It's something different. Oops, sorry, earthquake. It's something that just adds that little bit of extra oomph to your colorings. So I'm going to grab a couple of my Distress Oxide inks. I want these to be the oxides for a reason. Let me find the ones that I'm looking for. And I need an orange. Okay. I colored so amazing that the earth shook. Yeah, that's exactly what I did, Michelle. Thanks for noticing. Okay, so I've grabbed a few oxide inks. And the reason I want these to be the oxides is because I want them to really have that kind of chalky look on top. So that's why I picked the oxides as opposed to the regular distress inks. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I have a little bit more workspace so you guys can see. And what I'm going to do is I have my pixie spray. And I'm going to spray my stencil. And yes, I spray the holy living heck out of my stencil. And then I'm going to line this up on here where I want it to be. Okay, and then I'm gonna grab my frog tape because I do not want my picture to move while I'm stenciling this. So I'm just going to tape it down just a little bit. What did Julie say? Yes, the cleaning station is a game changer. If you do not have our Copic cleaning station, you're seriously missing out. Like, it is legit. And I'm just saying that because it's our product. I'm saying that because it is legit a game changer. So this one I'm going to tape right to the paper because I'm not stenciling down here. And then I'm just going to use 2 little strips of tape. Frog tape, the yellow tape. That's what this is. I don't know if you can see right there, frog tape. This is the best craft tape ever. Okay, so I'm going to start with my yellow. I've chosen mustard seed. And I'm going to kind of continue along with the gradient here. I'm also going to, I usually use like, right, Evan is home now. I usually use like a Post-it note or something like that. And I'm going to put this right here because I don't want my ink to go into the ocean. And so I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to kind of avoid the mountains a little bit. But if it covers them, it's okay. It's going to look like it's sun-kissed. And that's what I want. That's what I meant by we're going to kind of blend those out some because we're going to use the inks to do it. So I'm not too concerned about that. Okay. And then I'm going to grab my orange, which I've chosen Carved Pumpkin. Now, again, I like to blend things out. So I'm going to go back to my yellow and kind of blend where that orange and that yellow meets a little bit. Now I have my red, and I've chosen Candied Apple. Really light touch with the red. Okay, and again, I'm going to blend where the red and the orange meet. And then I've chosen Seedless Preserves for the purple because it's like this beautiful pinky purple color that I just love. And then again, I'm going to blend that out a little bit with the red. Okay, so see how I've barely just like kissed the mountaintops with those colors? That's what I wanted so that it looks like the sunset's kind of kissing those mountaintops. I don't know, I don't know how else to describe it. I just really like it. Okay. So I'm going to pull the tape without pulling the stencil because I want to do the wow. You guys ready for the wow? Mainly because pulling stencils is like my favorite thing in the whole world. Pulling off stencils and masks is like, oh my God, it makes me so happy. Okay. Are you guys ready? It's a subtle thing, but look at how cool that is. Isn't that awesome? So fun. Really, really, really cool. Okay, so you can use your stencils on top of your Copics. The other thing is I'm going to go into the ocean here with the yellow, and I'm just going to lightly add some of that yellow into the ocean. And then I'm going to grab the orange and just very, very lightly, I'm going to put some orange on the outside of that too. So it looks like the reflection of the sun into the ocean. Thanks, Michelle. Okay, so let me put these inks aside and then we will move on to making the card. All right, so I'm going to grab a card base. I have some that are already folded. And then I'm going to grab, where is it? I think that's the right size, so we'll cut that down. So first of all, I'm going to cut my matting down. That's so funny. Thank you, Natalie. Okay, so my card base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/8. by 5 3/8. That means my background, I need to cut a little bit smaller than that. So I'm going to take my background, and I like to take off of both sides, so I'm going to cut to 5 3/8 on that one, and then 5 1/4 on this one. Now, the top and bottom, it doesn't really matter to me, so I'm just going to cut off the bottom. So I'll cut that to 4. Okay. Now, I got a little bit more on there than I think I really wanted to. So I'm just going to grab a tissue. Since it's on top of Copics, I can make this kind of fade some. There. That's better. Okay. So then I'm going to take my card base, my card front, my Barely Art glue, yes, I put a lot of glue on there, so, you know, it's just a thing. And with my Barely Art glue, I have time to make this centered. And then I put it face down, and I use my espresso to smooth it out. Okay, so then same thing. Like that. And then I like to pick it up so that I can really see where it belongs. It's at this point that I generally stamp the back of my cards. Oh my gosh, and this is a Japanese card again. It opens the wrong way. Look, I did it again. I probably could color with glue. Yes, the black definitely makes it pop. Oh my gosh, you guys, I glued my card on backwards yet again. I'm just going to go with it. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. I'm fine. We're all fine. We're just going to leave it. Yeah, we can use it in the booth. That's true. We can use it in the booth. Okay, then I pull out my handy dandy little honey bowl. And so in my honey bowl, I put wobbles in here. I put sweet pops in here. I have fantastic fasteners in here. And then I usually have a couple of glue dots. I'm down to 1 glue dot and I'm out. So that's a thing. But I bet you I'm going to need more sweet pops. And I don't even have any, so we're going to have to make this work. Okay. Because I don't do anything without sweet pops. It's okay, just send it to Michelle. I just call it my Japanese phase of making cards because all my cards are backwards right now. For some reason, this is like the 5th or 6th card that I've done backwards in a very short amount of time. Oh, that's right. I did leave them on your desk, didn't I? That's my last Sweet Pop. Okay. And I have this little piece of one. So I'm going to put it right here. Oh my goodness gracious. Why is that not sticking? Oh, because there's still paper on the back of it. That's why. There we go. Okay, so now I put the inks way over here and I still need them. I actually only really need the brushes. So I take the excess ink off the brushes and I kind of brush the edge of this just to make it kind of blend in a little bit more. And this is why I don't wash my brushes, because I'm always using that little bit of excess ink on there. So I'm going to use these. These are leftover from a pack that I had a super long time ago. Oh my gosh. I know, Sandy, there's markers I got to get maintenance to too before you come back and hurt me because I haven't been taking care of my markers. So I happen to have one of these Rabbit Hole Designs Cottontail blending brushes for every color of Distress ink and Distress Oxide ink. So, just to throw that out there for you. People always ask me if I, like marry color families on them or whatever. And you can, I used to. But I just broke down and bought one for every single ink pad. And then I have a few spares just in case. So we do have these Cottontail blending brushes. These are the ones I'm talking about on the site. And they come in a 2-pack. And I highly recommend them. That's why we have them on the site, because they are truly the best brushes that I have come across. The ones that I just like the most. And I'm going to be hyper picky here, but when I stamped this, it didn't quite get black all the way through here. And I know nobody can tell, but I can tell, so. Okay, and then on the inside, where's my other sentiment? Here it is. And my cutter bees. Nope. not gonna work. They are awesome. They really are. They make me happy. Best blending brushes I've come across. So, again, we rise by lifting others. The Rabbit Hole Designs is an amazing company run by an amazing woman. And in our My Favorite Things link on the website, if you go to sweetsentiment.us and then click on My Favorite Things, there's an affiliate link for the Rabbit Hole Designs. It does not cost you any extra money to use that affiliate link, but it helps us out because it makes us a commission. Okay, so then what I like to do is open my card. That's backwards. Don't mind me. Where did I set my stencil? Here it is. And I'm not even dipping these brushes in ink. I'm just doing a really light coat with the residual ink that's left on the brush. But I always like to do something to the inside of my card. So they're not all, you know, stenciled or whatever, but I always like to do a little something. So do that. Take this, put some glue on it. I know, I missed you too, Michelle. I missed all my sweeties, all my friends. Okay, so then honestly, the only other thing that I would do is I would probably use some of our super cool dots or some stickles, but I think I'm going to use dots. Because you know me, I like to over embellish. So this one is called Sticks and Stones, but if we're going to refer to it as Socks and Shoes. Just go with me. Because Linda couldn't read it because the little dots were in the way, and so she called it Socks and Shoes. So especially on the matte finish ones, I like to add a little dab of glue underneath them just to be sure that they stick. And I like to sort of hide the embellishments in with the background. So it's there, but it's not really there. If that makes any sense at all. Camo card candy, you got it, Michelle. That's awesome, camo card candy. It just adds some extra texture to your card. And so I don't like to push on these with my finger, number one, because I can move them around, number two, because it hurts my finger. So I just use my espresso to put a little bit of pressure on them and make sure that they're adhered. And there you go, guys. There is a super epic card for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. I love hanging out with you guys, so you'll be seeing more of me again, and except of course when we're traveling. So thank you, thank you. If you liked watching this, please share and tag us. And yes, you need 2 espressos. And Nona, I have them right now. So if you need specific ones, let me know. Please share and let people know about us. Like I said, we're in a big building phase right now. We want brand recognition, so everybody's sharing our new logo. Okay, bestie. Definitely helps us out. Also, we have the Bestie Retreat going on. So if you have not secured your seat yet at the Bestie Virtual Retreat, you're totally going to want to do that. So do not miss the retreat. It's amazing. You're going to see more stuff like this happening, all that kind of thing. So anyways, thanks for joining me this afternoon. I'm going to go check in with my son, and I'm going to go gulp some water down because I'm super thirsty. And then it's probably on to coffee and creating stamp packaging. So thank you guys again for joining me. This will be posted over on our YouTube really soon. And Sandy will be live tonight coloring, or probably still marker maintenancing. No, I'm just kidding. She's going to be coloring something. We don't know yet what, but she's going to be coloring something. So anyways, I will see you guys all very soon. Toodles!